All right, guys, welcome back to another video. We're moving right along. We have basically gotten everything where we want it, mostly where we want it. How did we get here? Where are we going? All right, so what we got here is we have our grip frame in place. Our grip frame is helping us locate the feed mech, okay? So the way we got there is we're gonna have to take this apart, and I'll show you the cuts I've made ahead of time. In doing that, and the one in my sneak peek picture, whatever the hell it's called, you can tell it has different rails on it, but in those rails, there's a huge gap right here. We're trying to avoid a gap. That gap on that other, well, this one won't move right now. The gap on the other rifle is like 1/4 inch. I wish I would have done this on the front side, so this will help somebody else. So I got these from STS, I think it is. They are made out of, he cleaned out RTG of damn A3 stock legs, milled them down, and you get a better looking unit. Let's give it that. So anyway, it's Specialized Tactical, I think is who I got these from. I'll try to find the link, but they're expensive compared to the other ones. Not really needed, it's a looks thing. So anywho, these really didn't need fitting. We bump right up to the feed tray housing. The feed tray housing's in the right spot. We got room here. We've got our bolt gaps good. And then over here, it's hard to tell. When we weld this up, we're gonna put a dime in there and that'll be good. So same thing on this side. We've got it where, I can get it back in there. Got it marked where it's going. No gap. We'll fill this gap in with weld. When we go to weld, we got to be real careful under here because as you can see, it's touching. I know we're gonna come out a smidge when we put that dime in there, which will give us a little bit, but not much. So we are gonna weld this under here, but not very much. And then this will get welded. I'd really like to slide everything back and weld this and then come back on, but because these have to be welded under here, that's kind of a pain in the ass. I don't know how we would accomplish it short of bringing this on from the bottom, stretching it out, putting it on, and then tightening it back up, and we could possibly do that. I'm afraid it may mess with something, but anywho. So before we ever weld this, what we're gonna do is we gotta get our trunnion in and then our feed box in, because what I ran into on the other one was we were right up here, but back here, our bolt was jumping off the feed stud or whatever it is. It would jump up and bind up the whole gun. So I had to play with the depth of this to get it right. And I bet we have to do that on this one. So let's take it apart and show you what we're working with. All right, so as you can see, the rail, man, that sucker's in there, isn't it? It fits pretty good. We got to clean up that rust a little bit, clean up the rails. We got to weld these rails on. And on the other one, I welded the rails in and then cut the receiver. I'm afraid I've got more receivers, so if we got to start over, we'll start over. I'm afraid what's gonna happen is we'll get warpage. And if you look around some of the forums, people are talking about they're getting a little warp. I think to avoid that, to avoid the warp, we're gonna try to push our copper mandrel back in here to hold it and get these rails welded in. The same thing we gotta do here is we gotta weld the trunnion in. As you can see, the cut, where's something I can point with? All right, I went a little high on this one just because I don't want to fuck around. So I left a little meat, and we'll clean it up with a file. A little meat there, and then we still have to cut out right here. I left this in place until I get these welded in because I'm worried about some kind of weird shit going on right here. I mean, that's not a lot of metal anyway. It might hold something. So I overcut under here. That's fine because your mag weld comes out to like that lump comes out to like right there, and you got to get rid of that lump. So that's why that's cut back so far. Under here, you have to cut the receiver below these lugs right here. Your feed box will sit on those lugs when it's in the weapon. So after I get this welded in, I'll show you all that. Looking around, it's probably not the right way to do it, but it's the right way that I'm gonna do it. And we should get a pretty functional, pretty good looking weapon this way. We're gonna do tiny welds, not huge welds to hold this in here. Got to do a little bit of fitting right here because it's, let's see here. Yeah, they got some kind of funny cut right there, but it's still, you can see the trunnion right there. And then we go right up against the metal. So it's needs a smidge of fitting there. Let's see what the other one looks like. Yeah, same thing. It's not too bad. It's a little proud. Probably when we weld it, you would never notice. So I got marks where they go. That way I could tell if when we take that feed box off, if we were back in the right spot. So now, for me, I've got to try to get my copper mandrel back in here. For you, if you don't have the copper mandrel, I don't know. Not a lot of heat, I guess, because you're going to, or weld these in before you cut your receiver. But then, like on our other one, you couldn't fit anything if I had to move this forward or back to get rid of this gap. If it's already welded in and whatnot, it wouldn't work out. So we're gonna put the copper mandrel back in this one and then work at it like that. The trunnion, we'll weld up this hole. We'll make, I can't remember how many holes there were, but we're gonna just make a few holes and weld the trunnion to the receiver. The only thing you gotta watch out there is, in the first video, we talked about cutting. There is a little bit cut off of this. It's not very much. I'm not gonna give you a measurement because I don't think it's the same on all of them. Let's see. I guess I can't give you a measurement. Maybe. All right, from the front to the front, it's about 59.23 is what I've got. I bet it's supposed to be about 60 millimeters. So that left me a little bit of room to play with my shroud. So there's that. We got a weld on our rear sight. We'll do that when the copper mandrel gets put back in here. But if you don't, obviously, not everybody's gonna spend that on that copper mandrel. I ordered a copper bar off of Amazon. I don't see it up here. It's the same diameter as the back here. And just put it in there. See, that's a pretty tight fit, and then weld your rear side. But the bar I ordered is 8 inches long, so it takes up most of the receiver. So if you just go to Amazon and search, I think it's like 22 millimeter round copper. They have them in 8-inch sections. And 8 inches gets you wherever you need to go. Even if you're not doing the rear side, even if you're just gonna weld a rail, it'll get you there. So you can push it in, weld your rail, and then push it back out. Fits pretty good and it helps out a lot. This is for your interface right here, but it doesn't fit these very well. It'll fit MP5 pretty well. I'd have to go down the bottom. So what I did is I went to the Amazon again. I don't know where it's at. You can order different size aluminum bar stock. This one's a thin one, that one's a thicker one. I've been using this one to push the trunnion out. Bang on one end with a copper hammer, and knocks it out. Anyway, you can order it thicker. This one won't fit because it's not what it's for, but you can order, I got one here somewhere for it that'll go up into the caulking tube and help with that transition right there. So other than that, those are my cuts. That's how I did it based off the first one. Because on the first one, what we did was we put our box on here. We made these marks on the receiver, went and cut them on and off, and it's like, by the time it was done, it kind of looked like that. So that's just on that. And then we'll just get our bar back in here and get it ready for weld, and then next time you see it, we'll possibly have that done.